Hi everyone, and welcome to our market review. So February was an interesting month as we saw our first pullback in the technology sector for quite a while. We also saw China come out with some interesting data in regards to their GDP growth, the COVID vaccine and hopes for the economy. And the big news, of course, is the $1.9 billion relief package. So let's get started with some market data. In recent days, the S&P 500 has marginally sold off, but the index is still up roughly 75% from the market bottom that we saw hit nearly a year ago. Some on the street are starting to get a little bit antsy. The NASDAQ, which is the technology index, composite pulled back 8% before a Friday rebound. The S&P is now at about 200 or above its 200-day moving average, causing some to think that a small correction could be due. However, that might be just a pullback before the stimulus money comes in, which is expected to pass soon. Giving a strong bull run for the market in the past 12 months, a small pullback is certainly to be expected and shouldn't be seen as a major concern in and of itself. Going over to Asian news, China's economy surged closer to the American benchmark last year, achieving nominal gross domestic product or GDP of 14.73 trillion USD, which is more than 70% of that of the US. This data comes out of the National Bureau of Statistics in Beijing. The Asian country's economy grew at 3% in dollar terms during 2020. Topping for the first time more than 100 trillion yuan for the first time in a year. So that leads some people to be asking, what might be the cause of this? Leading economists seem to think that it's the actions to suppress the coronavirus outbreak in the early part of last year helped the industrial production of China stage an early recovery in spring, which also then had the actions of fueling a real estate development and other economic activity. Overseas demand for Chinese goods also gave a boost, masks and things of the like. By contrast, the US struggled with its initial response to the pandemic, which is hampering the economy. Nominal GDP in the US shrank 2.3% last year. In contrast to the pandemic response, suggests China actually overtake the US as a top global economic power sooner than expected. The Japan Center for Economic Research projected in December last year, 2020, that China would surpass the US in nominal GDP as soon as 2028, which is really only 7 years away. So now across the pond for some UK news, some very positive data coming out of the UK with over 20 million people now receiving a dose of the COVID vaccine. The rapid pace of the UK's vaccine rollout is lifting hopes after a year of extended lockdowns in the UK, chaotic separation from the EU, and one of the highest per capita death tolls in the world. Last Thursday, the Bank of England, the BOE, projected that long-term optimism for the country's economic recovery, saying that GDP is actually expected to recover rapidly towards pre-COVID levels even over the course of this year. So 2021, they're really pinning their hopes on recovery for this year as the vaccination program led to a easing of restrictions in the country as well. The BOE, the Bank of England's forecast, they went as far as to add the rare upbeat sentiment among the analysts over the past week regarding the UK's prospects. This was largely owing to the speed of the rollout and also the fact that the UK has its own vaccination. This was far quicker than that of the EU, which has really struggled to ramp up the pace of vaccinations. So that means that at the moment, currently, 1/3 of the British population has received at least one dose, and that is according to Bloomberg's vaccine tracker. The government did actually go against medical recommendations to actually push back the second dose, which turned out to work in their favour as well. So now on to big news. Last Saturday, we saw an announcement of a $1.9 trillion relief package from the US House of Representatives. This is a big milestone on the way to securing congressional approval for the economic stimulus bill. So the House passed a proposal and this included things such as a $1,400 direct payments, another $350 billion for state and local governments, and an extension of the federal top-ups to unemployment insurance early on Saturday morning with the support of Democratic lawmakers. Now, this didn't include the $15 minimum raise that some people were looking for. President Biden pleaded for quick action from the Senate on the stimulus bill, having come out last Saturday saying, we have no time to waste. If we act now, decisively, quickly, boldly, we can finally get ahead of the virus. We can finally get our economy moving again. And the people of this country have suffered far too much for too long. We need to relieve that suffering, was his statement that he made last Saturday. So since then, from that news coming out on Monday, we've seen some global markets respond positively to the news. Looking at Japan's Nikkei index, that rallied 2%, while in America, the Nasdaq futures, which is before the market opens, bounced 0.8%, and the S&P futures up 0.7%. Okay, guys, that's it for February's market wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick video. As always, this isn't seen to be taken as investment advice. This is purely for education. If you are looking to get your finances in order, please speak to a professional. Thanks, guys. Have a good day, and I hope your March is a good one. Thanks.